Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Allison Maloney. A federal judge has held former New York City mayor and lawyer and confidant of the former president, Rudy Giuliani, liable in a defamation lawsuit brought on by two Georgia election workers. Joining us now for more on Giuliani's first big legal loss and what this could mean for others in the Georgia indictment. Let's bring in the legal eagles to help us out. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor and law professor at Cornell University, Randy Zelin, and former federal prosecutor, Doug Burns. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us this morning. Randy, I'll start with you. What does this mean for Giuliani and what happens next?
Well, technically, he's lost on the issue of liability. Keep in mind, there wasn't actually a finding on the merits that he's liable for defaming these four women. He has been found liable as a result of basically thumbing his nose at the judge. In a federal civil case, there's supposed to be complete and open discovery. There's no trial by ambush. You're supposed to give up everything you know. You're supposed to preserve anything that could be important in the case. We call it relevant. Mr. Giuliani, perhaps for strategic reasons, because he's got other fish to fry, refused to engage in any meaningful discovery. The judge warned him, and finally said, you know something, son, you lose.
Yeah, Doug, the Washington Post called the judge's decision a, quote, blistering 57-page opinion. She suggested Giuliani's failure to turn over materials was aimed at avoiding liability, not just in the defamation case, but more broadly, including apparently in the Fulton County case. Doug, it sounds like the judge went an extra step further in finding Giuliani liable in this case. What do you think?
No, I agree, Allison. I know this judge. I worked with her, coincidentally, in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and she's no fan of Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani. I'm not suggesting, that she demonstrated specific bias here, but to go on and on for 57 pages about this, she defaulted him in the lawsuit. And as Randy pointed out, that's not a finding, that he actually did defame them. Now they're going to go to a damages inquest. That'll be interesting. But back to your original point, I could not agree more. She went out of her way, the judge, to not only address what were simply discovery violations, and she went way into broader questions.
Randy, this of course leads us to question, what does this mean for the former president and the 18 others, indicted in the Fulton County case?
It's a very interesting. I'm sorry, Doug.
Oh, no, go ahead, Randy. Randy, and then Doug, you can respond. Go ahead, Randy.
It's a fascinating issue because everything is connected. It's like the 7 degrees of bacon separation. And to the extent that what Mr. Giuliani did to these women in this civil case impacts the criminal case, because one of the counts in the RICO case is obviously the intimidation that these women suffered. And this was all part of the plan to overturn the results of the Georgia election. So now that there's been a finding that Mr. Giuliani has wronged these people, in my humble opinion, it certainly does impact, it certainly does infect the criminal case, both to Mr. Giuliani and to the former president as well, who will probably now make another motion at some point to make sure that the jury does not find out, to the extent that this sticks, that Mr. Giuliani has been found liable for defaming these election workers who were part and parcel of the indictment.
Yeah, good point. Doug, go ahead.
Oh, but again, I have a minor disagreement in the sense that technically it was, he was defaulted on failure to comply with discovery orders. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to study it to drop more, whether that equates to a finding of liability. The only other point I wanted to make is he is allowed to appeal this ruling by the district court to the Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. And it'll be interesting to see what happens on that appeal, actually.
Yeah, Randy, I mean, he's got to be in the courtroom a lot now based on these cases. I mean, how does this affect, how can he campaign and be in court? Does he have to actually be in court? Can he do it remote? How often would he have to be there?
Well, in a criminal case, generally speaking, and certainly pre-pandemic, every time you had a court appearance, unless you made an application beforehand, you have to appear in the courtroom. The pandemic changed this, and we went to remote, and it was much easier to adjourn things. Now that the pandemic, thankfully, is past us, yes, you're supposed to be in court. Now, keep in mind, the former president actually relishes these opportunities to be in court because it is his dog whistle. It is red meat for his base. So not only should he be in court, and he could waive if his lawyers requested, you can be damn sure he's going to be in court every opportunity that he gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Doug, Trump's going to be arraigned next week. What can we expect?
Very straightforward. You know, they already did the processing, Allison. So he'll go in, he'll plead not guilty, he'll go home. They should do that virtually. I've said that before. But of course, apparently they won't because of the whole, circus environment.
Right. They allow the cameras in the courtroom there. We saw that happen before in Georgia. All right, Randy Zelin, Doug Burns, thank you so much. Appreciate it.